Hello, fellers. Howdy doody day. We should have a name for you guys. You guys are basically going to be the Harry Potter panel.
Potterheads.
I think that's been the name for Potter fans for quite a while. So
Potterheads.
Is there a more specific name to you two, to this pairing of Harry Potter fans or something? You can make more clever than that.
Can I be more clever than that? Not on the spot.
Potterheads just seems like, okay.
I mean, look, I made my thumbnail thingy. My thing has the lightning jagged edges on Mary.
Together we're Caffeinated Mayhem. So
we are Caffeinated Mayhem. Yep. So, caffeinated wizards. I don't know. I want to be known as the Wizard Swears.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Perfect. Well, today we're taking a look at a recommended one by you, Mary.
Yes.
Sisters of House Black, an unofficial fan film. The full film is by Kelsey Ellison. They got over 220,000 subscribers. Usually they have a release date, but for some reason that's not showing here. You know how long ago it was released? Best guess?
No, I saw this about maybe 6 months ago. We watched this together.
The pinned comment is from a year ago, so maybe about a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah, but the comment below that says 2 years.
2 years ago. Yeah, I saw this about 6 months ago. But look, it's a genuinely really fun fan film. I see no reason for it to not be headcanon for people who like that sort of thing, people who do headcanon. This doesn't disrupt with the actual canon of the Harry Potter series or lore in any way that I can note. So this is a really fun film that fits great with anybody who wants to have a sort of headcanon for what goes on with the girls. And I don't see any disruption in that normal sort of flow of Harry Potter lore and theory that goes on. So it's a really fun film. Should we give a preface? Because for those who aren't necessarily familiar with the Black sisters, maybe they would be a little bit more familiar.
Sure. Well, that's a good example. I'm the character. I'm the white generic character that doesn't know anything about what's going on. So, what's going on here, Mary? I don't understand. Who's these Sisters of House Black? And are there other colors of houses and other people of those?
So, we'll start with the most iconic of the sisters. Bellatrix Lestrange is how most people would know her. But she was originally one of the Black sisters. Her maiden name is Black. She's the cousin of Sirius Black. For those of you who may not necessarily know how to put that. So there were 3 Black sisters, and Bellatrix being the most iconic. Narcissa Malfoy is the one who you may also recognize relatively easily. She was Draco Malfoy's mother, and she was more of the blonde. And then Narcissa Malfoy was she was the one with the blonde and black hair.
Yeah.
She was the one that lied to Lord Voldemort when he asked, "Is he dead?" And she put her hand and she said, "Is Draco alive?" And he was like, "Yes." And then she goes, "He's dead." And she tells him. And so in the movies, that's all you'll see of her. She plays a larger role in the books.
Right.
In the books, you have a bit more interaction with her, but she sort of foils Lord Voldemort. You would have expected her to have been a loyal servant of Lord Voldemort, considering how evil the Malfoys are throughout the majority of it, and then of course how evil Bellatrix is. Whereas Andromeda is the one you guys never saw in the movies. Andromeda is Nymphadora Tonks's mother. So she's a blood traitor. She married Ted Tonks, who was a Muggle-born.
Ted Tonks.
Ted Tonks. And so, but they were raised as pure blood sisters who were raised to be Slytherins, all of them, and to be pure bloods, and to be basically those purebred witches of the wizarding world. And Andromeda forsaken her house, whatever that word is.
I'm entertained.
Thank you, Andrew. She left. She didn't leave the wizarding world, but she left the sort of pure blood angle of everything, and then she married a Muggle-born, and she gave birth to Tonks or Nymphadora.
She tainted the line.
She tainted the line, but she was quite. They were all quite lovely in their own way. So those are the Black sisters: Bellatrix Lestrange, Narcissa Malfoy, and Andromeda Tonks were all originally Blacks, cousins to Sirius Black, and purebloods all the way.
All right, that sets the scene. Thank you, Mary.
You're very welcome.
Let us dive in.
This is such a great video. I love it. And the actress who plays Bellatrix is just spot on. Really great.
Good job. So that takes place, it's at 1801?
So this is Halloween, 1981. This
81.
would have been when Harry Potter was male bailed. Or not Harry Potter, but his parents. Yeah, so Lily and James, this is when they died.
Okay. I'm surprised that they went to the effort to recreate the scene here and add some new stuff to the murdering scene. I assume this is what that is.
If I remember correctly, but this feels weird. It doesn't feel like it should line up. So this must be a different house. But 1981, Halloween 1981 would have been the day of Lord Voldemort's downfall. So it may not be Harry Potter's house. I'm having a hard time remembering. It was 6 months ago. I've only seen it.
I think this is the Black House.
The Black House?
Oh, no, you're right. The picture is showing them, of course. Never mind. Yeah. But the way it's shot reminds me of the way they showed Voldemort.
I think that's meant to very deliberately kind of tug and pull some parallels there to kind of put some emotional twinge on it.
Which, for a filmmaking aspect, because they're not copying it, but they are homaging it, that is done pretty well here so far, I would say.
So this is the tapestry that you see in the Black House. So if you're a fan of just the films and not the books, if you haven't read the books, you'll notice the tapestry in the 5th movie, Order of Phoenix, when Harry goes to number 12 Grimmauld Place, and then Sirius Black shows him the tapestry of his and the burned faces of people. This is that tapestry.
Okay. I see.
Andromeda. Yeah.
Is the text in the proper Harry Potter?
The text is
font?
close. It's close, but it's not the actual Harry Potter font. And look, I get it. They might not actually be able to use.
Yeah, sometimes certain fonts are custom where you can't just, or if you have to get them, you have to pay for it or something. So
if you wanted an actual recreation, right now my name is in the official Harry Potter font, and so that's what it would need to look like in order to be a perfect replica. But for the sake of making a film, I understand why they might have had to fight to get the rights for that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, oddly enough, font is like something that people don't understand that you sometimes have to like pay for or get rights to. But it seems weird, but it makes sense because that is a skill.
But this is close. It's not far. I like that some of them are more jagged in places. It does have a bit of a sharp edge to it while still flowing in other ways. It's quite a good, not replication, but quite a good, it's almost like a cousin. So I like it.
Cousin font.
It's like a cousin font, yeah.
And now, is it too loud, or is that?
No, I love it. It's fantastic.
No, audio's good.
Cool.
Seven muggles have been reported to have mysteriously gone missing, having been grabbed by a group in black cloaks.
It seems like this dark wizarding group are finally taking action where others dare not.
Do you think this dark wizard really exists? I thought it was just some silly gossip going around the school.
I know.
All right, this looks pretty good so far, I'd say.
Yeah. So in the scene in front of us, that's Narcissa, and so that would be Narcissa. That's the Malfoys. Dang it! Tell me, when did somebody explain to me why the heck I can't remember Draco's dad's name right now.
Lucius.
How did that happen? Lucius. God love me, please, Lord help me.
That was like one of the most original names for me, Lucius. It's
Lucius Malfoy's actor here is one of my only real nitpicks with this entire fan film is he doesn't look anything like Lucius.
No,
he looks more like Peter Pettigrew than he does Lucius.
I feel like the actor who plays him, though, I mean, that his face isn't a common one. Like
he's horribly miscast.
The guy who plays him, the guy who plays like the actor who plays Lucius. I feel like his face is not one that is as similar. Like in Hollywood, I don't think I've ever seen anybody that looks anything like him. So like for a fan film to cast him properly, like a younger version, I don't know. That seems like that'd be kind of tough.
I just feel like they could have gone with someone a little less thick, you know?
It does. Rodolphus Lestrange is the one to talk to.
You should put more on me too, see what happens.
Priori Incantatem, when sister wands or brother wands we meet one another, is what that was meant to imply there. That's the only time that you'll see two bolts of light meet in the middle and not give one way or another, or when they do finally give, it's with great effort on the part of the Witcher wizard that's fighting. So that would have been an example of Priori Incantatem. The film wasn't messing around with it. It knew what it was doing here, and they'll allude to that here in a minute, that there's real power in the Black Sisters, genuine power. And so what they were doing here, as much as it might seem for a big fan like me who was pissed off initially when I saw, you're fucking around with Priori Incantatem, what the hell's wrong with you people? Don't make that a joke, right? They shouldn't make Priori Incantatem a joke because it's incredibly special and incredibly rare, but they do acknowledge that it's an incredibly powerful thing that happens here in a minute. So I appreciate that they didn't just make it a throwaway.
You watching, Mudbloods? This just proves that purebloods really are the most powerful.
Shut it, Lestrange. I wonder what this really means. I mean, I've heard about two wand gods. It means together we can do incredible things. It means we have a bond like no other. We can't break it.
So this is like an extreme version of the Ghostbusters crossing the streams or something, right?
I mean,
or no? I'm trying to think of another analogy. That the way they imply it's like, oh, separately it's meh, but together it goes
it's a
big.
really emotional bond that's meant to be implied here. That there's a very strong bond between the girls,
right,
emotionally as well as with their wands, and so they didn't dismiss this completely. I don't know that they fully understood what they were mucking around with, but they weren't completely stupid.
You will never see her again. If you do, you will meet the same fate.
Oh, it said 5 years later. Okay, so
yes.
Okay.
So they're speaking about Andromeda, and I don't want to give away too much of the film, but look, Narcissa loved her sisters. Narcissa was the luckiest of the Black sisters. She managed to marry for both love, and she managed to marry a pureblood. She truly loved her husband. She really loved Lucius. Shithead though he was to everybody else, he was sweet to her. He was good to her, and he loved their son. And so Narcissa was she was just the luckiest, and she never joined the Death Eaters. She certainly entertained them, and she certainly lent them aid whenever she could, and certainly that was a big part of her life. She never got branded, and Narcissa was able to balance her home and prioritize her home life, and that was really what mattered to her. She wasn't without feeling. She was a deeply feeling person. She was Slytherin. It was about her tribe. So she grieved Andromeda. I believe she grieved Andromeda.
Okay.
One last thing to touch on, and I had to double check this just now because I couldn't for the life of me recall if Narcissa or Andromeda's wands had ever been specified as to what they were. And as far as I can find, neither of them have had their wands actually specified. So this film, in order to pull off the little triple priori and
it hasn't broke canon.
It had to correct. It didn't break anything. They took advantage of the fact that Rowling never specified what those two witches' wands were, and so this film just infers and suggests to the viewer that they're the same as Bellatrix's.
Which is a good place to do it in a fan film, to explore creative freedom there. So neat.
Give them back now!
I knew studying legitimacy would be useful. I can see exactly what's going on.
This is important. Magical purity is getting weaker. We need to ensure that the black line remains powerful. You need to set an example.
I love this guy. He is really into this role.
He is intense. Yeah.
He's one of my least favorite parts of it, but I understand why he has. Look, Bellatrix is crazy, right? So it's okay to stick an eccentric father in there.
He just seems very stern. The line is getting weaker. We must have it be strong. You must breed properly here.
You can understand why it got beat into the girls. It got beat into them senseless, and so you get why they are the way they are.
Yeah.
You know that Muggles are causing wars and destruction in this world. Their weak-minded blood does not belong with ours.
I will marry a pure blood. But right now, especially after I got my aura apprenticeship, and what about all those newts I worked so hard for? Besides, when I do marry, I want it to be my choice. I'll do it my own way. I don't appreciate it being posted around like a witch weekly magazine. Mother, please.
Be quiet. You're no longer at Hogwarts, Bellatrix. We've left it far too long.
I guess I better packing my newts now.
Don't be silly, Andromeda.
If you do not comply, there is a very easy way to fix this.
She's forgotten enough.
Jesus, going just jumping with seriousness. I love this right there.
He's about to so for those who who aren't going to realize what's coming up here, pensives are supposed to be super rare. If a family owned one, I could say the Blacks. I could see that because they're a very old family. So they're one of the
they want you to be as pure, so looking back at where things were before, it kind of makes sense to.
Well, they're part of the Sacred 28, and so which is that's just a list of the oldest wizarding families that the wizarding world has. So the Blacks would have had access to very old antique items, things that would have had ancient power. So pensives are supposed to be super rare. If it existed within a family home, I would have to forego. Okay, so Blacks, that's a possibility. Not sure that I even fully understand why he keeps removing her memories, except that it keeps her from remembering the things that she might be.
Well, so if she's a teenage girl, she gets desires that she wants, and she's being defiant because of it, and then he wants to remove that. So defiance isn't as there, and could also be partially why she's more crazy or something, whatever. If that's
it might subdue her to a certain extent if she doesn't even remember what she's trying to get Buck over. Yeah. So, but I think it's just an excuse to insert a pensive.
But I still just love this guy. He's like, there is an easier way to do this.
He just points the wand at her fucking head.
Like his entrance is his 0, but that's our 9, and then he's going even harder than that. It's like, whoa, dude. They're just okay. Wow. All right. Shit.
Didn't have to go that hard, bro.
Yeah. He's like, I am not allowing any wiggle room for you. No,
this will happen.
Yes.
Be quiet. You're no longer at Hogwarts, Bellatrix. We've left it far too long.
I guess I better packing my newts now.
Don't be silly, Andromeda.
If you do not comply, there is a very easy way to fix this.
She's forgotten enough as it is.
You are a disgrace to our family. You will marry first, and then you will leave this house. And I will no longer have to deal with you. Our our family is the noble and most ancient house of Black. You will all contribute to carrying on a pure magical bloodline. If you do not obey or agree to our arrangements, you will be banished from this household and stripped of your rights as a member of the Black family. Do you understand?
Don't let your toupee fall off on the way out, bro.
That guy gets an Oscar for this film. Holy shit. He's in it. And I give this actress credit too for, she's putting on a good sad face without looking like you're trying to. She's not going into fake crying mode. She's not. The less you can do shows more the emotion. So
yeah, she's actually quite good throughout all of this. And fun fact, so you see how one eye kind of stares like sort of vacantly and then the other one does the acting. She has a glass eye. She has a fake eye. She's missing an eyeball. So kind of I kind of been very forgiving of that throughout the course of the fan film. It can be distracting when you're trying to figure out what the heck's going on, but once you know, you can kind of look past it and look for the acting and the emotion out of the other eye. I hate that happened to her because she's quite good. She's quite good. I hate how distracting that is, but she's very, very talented.
Well, we have the luxury of being able to look past it.
Yep, true.
Are you listening, Bellatrix?
Critics can take away my memories. I'm glad you tried to stand up to Mother and Father, Bella. I agree with you. But what can we do about it, though? I don't want to marry someone I barely know. Father, Cadaver! Hey. Father, Cadaver! Have an earwax! Oh. Right.
Yeah, this is cringe.
Yeah.
No, this is cringe. Just go past it. Just play it. Let's get it over with. Just
kind
play it. Get it over with.
So, okay, I guess I'm confused because they've been jumping around the times a lot with their age, and so they're
establishing the bond between the sisters right now.
Okay, because they almost seem to be acting more childlike. Well, 2 years later, and I don't know that. Okay, just based off the tone of the last scene, I guess I wasn't expecting this scene. Okay.
Stop it! That's disgusting!
And I guess they're establishing that she's the more not as playful, but still enjoys it, sort of.
She loves her sisters. She's less of a goofball, but she does love them. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, she's not the silly ones doing the act, but she's present and is still happy.
Andromeda's the goofball. Bellatrix is very bipolar. Bellatrix is very bipolar. She seems to flit between. She's very versatile. She works well in just about all the scenes. She's perfectly capable of having fun, but she's very motivated. And then Narcissa is perfectly content to accept her role, but she really does love her sisters.
Okay.
I told you, it's an unforgivable curse. The Ministry have traced you, Bella. Not that she actually cast it, mind you. Stop it! Get behind me.
Ted's a Hufflepuff.
The nerd.
Ted's a Hufflepuff. No, I mean, if anything, Ravenclaws are the nerds. Hufflepuffs are just like, you're all Americans, you know. Oh. I guess all Britishes.
Heart of gold. Okay.
Hearts of gold, exactly.
Okay.
Ted? Tonks? I think he's in my year at Hogwarts. Yeah, a 7th year Hufflepuff. Muggle born.
Hello, I've got these leaflets for the...
And what exactly are these? Some sort of Muggle Defence Society?
They're gig leaflets. My friends are playing in the village pub tonight. I said I'd help them out because I wanted to make it a good one for them. I was walking up to your house to put some through the gate.
They play music at the pub?
Yes, apparently quite a lot. Do you not go down there much?
There's no need for us to.
Well, if you want to, here you go.
Thanks.
Maybe see you tonight.
Go! Leave! What an idiot. Did he seriously think we'd go to a gig? We're not desperate. Bella, you seem to be good friends with Rodolphus.
Okay, so when they said to the last scene, did they say 2 years later and now we're back to 2 years earlier?
I don't think so. I think we're still pretty much in the same time frame.
Okay.
Lestrange?
Rodolphus! He's worse than Malfoy. Rodolphus! Rodolphus! I almost forgot! He said he'd take us to visit the Dark Lord tonight. You two coming? Of course! If there's new magic being taught, I want to be there. I'll go get my cloak. Rodolphus, really?
Whatever you can control. Take hold of. Keep storing those memories. I'd suggest watching them pensive each night.
My lord, there has been a mistake. These are the three sisters I spoke to you about. The wands?
I'm Bellatrix Black. And I've no doubt that you know the name that my sisters and I share. We are from the most noble...
Silence.
So is that supposed to be
Voldemort? Yeah, and it's awful. It's an awful
bad
casting.
cast.
It's such an awful casting.
When it's not the bald version, I assume it's just Tom Riddle essentially. I guess
Tom Riddle was clean cut. He was clean shaven. He didn't look dirty. He didn't look filthy. He looked.
And
he was handsome.
This is supposed to be pre-weird.
Pre-weirdness.
So
Yes.
Tom Riddle, right? That's supposed to be the clean cut.
He had only left Hogwarts a couple of years before this. He was not very far into his whole process. I think he'd only made like 1 or 2 Horcruxes at this point. So he was still very handsome. And the book actually, the book that describes when he goes back to seek the teaching job from Dumbledore years later, it describes how he looked like Tom Riddle, but he looked diminished. He wasn't just handsome. His features seemed stretched, right? So he's still, up until he actually gets murdered by trying to kill Harry, but he basically kills himself because of the rebounding killing curse. He still looks very much like Tom Riddle, except he just gets more diminished and less handsome. When he comes back and he's reborn into a new body, that's when his features become snake-like. That's when he becomes bald. But up until like almost a decade after this, he's still very much looks like Tom Riddle. So this is an awful casting because he should have been clean cut. He should have been strikingly handsome enough to con a shit ton of people.
That's what I was assuming. Yeah, I was assuming that it was supposed to be the Tom Riddle, fancy boy kind of a thing, and but
the long hair,
fancy boy that knows a lot of dark stuff, and so.
Right. Well, I mean, imagine how he looked for the most part in as the kind of like shade of Tom Riddle towards the end of Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
That was a clean cut, handsome young man.
Well, yeah. Well, and the way I assume that is also because like you have the Black family here, and then I assume other prestigious ones or something. Like they wouldn't just join a lesser one necessarily. So if they're presented in a fancy way, I assume that's part of a.
And this would have been when Bellatrix fell in love with him. Bellatrix fell in love with Lord Voldemort the moment she laid eyes on him. And it's because, not just because he was was powerful, although that was a big part of it. It's also because he was incredibly handsome. All right. So that love carried over even when he lost his physical form. But when Bellatrix fell in love with Lord Voldemort, he was strikingly handsome. And she always remembered him that way. So when she came face to face with him here, what she should have been facing was that clean-cut, chiseled jaw, dipped-in cheeks, that appearance of just almost Cedric Diggory levels of handsome, maybe even a little bit more handsome. He was just very, very just striking to look at. And pale, very pale. He was always a pale kid. Why the heck they went with somebody who was clearly Latino in this? Maybe he might be Italian, but he's got olive skin here. This guy.
Yeah.
This is not. Yeah, this isn't Lord Voldemort. Lord Voldemort.
He's got super long.
It's like he's had a rough day.
He's
like he had a rough day.
Yeah, he's got stubble. He's got freaking.
He looks like he's had an arrow
circles under his eyes. He's got bushy as hell eyebrows. Like he's got caterpillars chilling above his eyes.
He looks like he was from like a CW superhero movie or show, like from Arrow.
Oh,
it looks like he's from Arrow or something. Like one of those guys.
That's a heavy insult right there.
Other than his appearance, though, the interaction here I think is pretty spot on for what we could have expected.
Okay, let's go with that then.
I have heard of the Black Fountain. Most prestigious and noble line. Always pure. However, you are Hogwarts students. Albus Dumbledore may be a hypocritical blood traitor. He is no fool. His power is unrivaled. His downfall will come at my hand at the opportune moment. It's rather disappointing, Lestrange. It is why you are not yet a Death Eater like your father.
My lord, I believe you will find great value in Bellatrix. She currently has an aura apprenticeship at the Ministry.
And I was 4 times dueling champion at Hogwarts.
I assume she's going to get one of those tastes of, a smackdown, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
That she's very rich and snotty. I am imagining, all your traits. Well, let's have that knocked down when you're...
Between his loving and eating up the fact that they feel they must prove themselves to him and the fact that she's overeager to prove herself, I loved the dynamic between these two. Bellatrix has always wanted to please him, has always wanted to prove herself to him, has always wanted to be his favorite and is his favorite, with the exception of arguably Snape. Most trusted, right? Most trusted lieutenant. She was with him at the end until the very last second. She died beside him when lots of the other Death Eaters ran. And he's eating up that she wants to impress him. And he loves to smack people down and remind them that he's the Dark Lord. Okay, it's never quite good enough with Voldemort. No matter how hard you try, it's never quite good enough. And even though he may be entertaining this notion right now, he's still going to slap you around a little bit.
Makes sense to me.
Very well. Duel with me. Duel with me, Bellatrix Black.
How do you like the music for this?
It could have been worse. I think it's very Middle of the road.
Yeah, I'd say it's mild, but it doesn't seem.
It doesn't feel like Harry Potter.
Again, I don't know what music I'd choose for an action scene with Harry Potter necessarily.
I think that they overestimated the value of a horn here, and because there's a lot of horn work in, that in that Harry Potter theme, and I think that they put too much weight on that sort of horn-esque type of tone that we're hearing here. It doesn't. It takes more than being a similar instrument or even a replicated instrument than to do the job here. But again, you have to be careful and you have to work with what you have. So I'm pretty forgiving with it.
I guess just because for me, in a lot of these fan films, they like to put music in every fight scene pretty much. And I wonder if some would be better if they just took out the music and had the sound effects here and there. So it's like more tense in a way. It's like, especially one like this where he's clearly going to be the dominant one in it and she's trying. And it's like, without the music, I feel like you could get how like, oh shit, this is like pointless for you to even try. I don't know. As for the music's like dun 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 dun, dun kind of.
I don't know. I see what you're saying and I agree with it in theory, but I remember fucking every time I watch a wand dueling scene, it's always lackluster. I'm sorry, my dog just did the thing she's been doing all night. I'm gonna mute for a minute.
Okay, that's all right. What about you, Andrew? Do you kind of see what I'm saying? Or I guess I'm looking at it from context of seeing a lot of different fight scenes throughout fan films, and just sometimes the music is distracting or puts the mood in a different set than what's going on.
What you said right there, that piece about the music can set the mood, and music properly utilized can add a lot of dimension and can carry a scene or scenes through to where the director and the writer want the audience to be, when that scene or set of scenes is over. But in the same vein, the inverse is also true. So if you're not utilizing music properly or you're using the wrong music, then it can have that adverse effect. And that's what, in this instance, it does for me, because the music feels out of place. The music itself is fine on its own, but it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit the world of Harry Potter for me, and it doesn't fit this scene.
Okay, so I guess my thoughts seeing that is like, I have no idea what any of the spells are, so I have no idea their threat level, and then the music again is it's the same tone throughout the whole thing. I was hoping that it would get more, like a showing that it's more dour as it went, and I don't really. It was just kind of, in a way, I think it was shot okay, and I guess the reactions to it were a little more interesting than like the previous fan film we watched. Like a few extra things happened that, like she like caught his thing and kind of sent it back, but
it was just meant to convey that she had clear potential, but obviously she's nowhere near his level. And I think it did a really good job of that. I don't need to know the spell work. They're conveying plot and story right now, and I'm good with that. I'm completely good with that.
Lost.
Free yourself.
You have my wand.
Fear and love will bind you. Don't let them control you. You show much potential. You're so much more than just a simple aura. Let me teach you.
Oh yeah, I liked that little part better.
Yeah, it did quite a bit better. Yeah.
Yeah.
A fire cadaver!
Oh, no! This is disgusting. Shut up!
Fire
For heaven's sake, must you practice that here?
Yes, I have to get this. He expects me to get it.
Today is Wednesday, the 26th of May, 1971. Are we heading for a wizarding war? The view on Muggle relations is dividing the wizarding world for the first time since Grindelwald.
Enough of the distraction.
You should be happy. Proud, even. I'm putting our family on the right side of power. The only one actually going out there doing something about it. Unlike you. Sissy.
Today is Monday, the 19th of June, 1972. The group in black cloaks have identified themselves as Death Eaters. They have claimed responsibility for multiple attacks.
Let me guess where you two have been. This is our...
So now they're trying to get us to where they want to have the film go forward from here, I assume, after that was all setting the scene.
Yeah, we're time skipping right now.
Okay.
Yeah, we're skipping forward a bit, but we're getting an understanding of Bellatrix's sort of journey into becoming more and more entrenched in this Death Eater world.
Okay. That's done pretty good, I'd say. All right.
Duty is a family.
I do kind of wish they had something other than a radio to explain that, just because it's wizards, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it would be. But
1971, 1972, I'm good with it.
yeah, it's just because it's still, like, to me, it's just cliche, which is fine though to do that. But I don't know if wizards in their world, do they have any other type of broadcast things that aren't?
No, and in fact, broadcast radio was exactly what Harry used in the 7th book to keep in touch with what was a Potter Watch was what they called the broadcast because they were trying to figure out where Harry was and what was going on.
We got to find Potter.
Well, actually, it was if you know ways that you can get a hold of one another and support each other, and they had like code names, everything. It was all broadcast over a little wireless radio. So even in the later parts of the books that were set, obviously to take course throughout the course of the 90s, you still have that radio thing, because wizards are actually weird in some ways. They're quite far behind Muggles, technologically speaking, because they just don't need to do the technological stuff that Muggles need to do, because Muggles have not got that magical advantage. So I don't mind the radio aspect of it. I think that it makes sense, especially given that wizards are
these trains and stuff too. Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm not saying it's like a problem or anything. It's just in my head, I would want there to be something different just because of wizards, but you're right, it doesn't contradict anything. Any of that. It's done well.
You could join us.
Their leader, who proudly claimed responsibility in the name of magical blood purity, goes by Lord Voldemort.
Wasn't over there at the top at Gringotts. Please, we'd be offering our house to rebellion meetings. If the ministry found out, then...
The ministry still think I'm a dedicated aura trainee.
Besides, the Dark Lord will protect us. So will I. I don't think this is a good idea. I do. So many influential people are following him now. Including the Malfoys.
It truly is a shame that too many ministry officials come by our manor, but if you were to offer your house, it would prove your alliance to him and to all the powerful families.
It really is beneficial. He can keep us safe. He's only going to get stronger.
They do have a point. We'd be silly not to. We could set out to do what Grindelwald achieved and more. And you could help. Cygnus?
I will give permission to this on one condition. You will marry.
Stop. I know exactly what you're thinking. Who knows? We're good friends. Bella, there are other ways to gain the Dark Lord's approval. And who knows? He may lose power within a year or so. No, he won't. All right. How does Lestrade sound?
She never loved him.
What? She never liked him?
She never loved Rodolphus Lestrange. She never loved him. And it was made very clear throughout the books that she only married him because it was her duty as a Black to further the pure blood line. That's why they never had kids. It's contested that she ever even slept with the guy. It's like there's no reason to assume that they ever even consummated the marriage. She just did her duty, and I love that they cast it into the light that her marrying Rodolphus wasn't just. That's one of the things I really love about this, because she had nothing. I don't want to say she had contempt for Rodolphus, but she clearly had no affection for him whatsoever. But she was madly in love with Lord Voldemort. And so if she could gain his approval by marrying Rodolphus, if it was something that would bolster her in Lord Voldemort's eyes, she would do it in a heartbeat.